My hair was like a second job. Now I'm forced to focus on myself. I wonder who I'll be.
I am reading the plot. I've read the plot, and I keep reading it and rereading it because I promise you guys, my calendar is all screwed up on my phone. And DJ Wonder can bear witness to this because he was outside trying to show me how to fix my phone. So I had no idea she was even coming in here today until today when we got here. And when I saw the plot to this film, Nappily Ever After, which will air Friday on Netflix, the date is September 21st, I'm just going to tell you, it says Violet Jones, tired of waiting for her longtime boyfriend to propose, breaks up with him, but old feelings and heaps of jealousy. Let's put an emphasis on the word heaps. Heaps of jealousy, no doubt, arise when he promptly begins dating another woman. I promise y'all, I just had this conversation last night. Maybe she could break it all down so I could tell my friend that Sanaa Lathan told us what to do when this happens to you. Welcome to the show. Welcome her back to the show. To the Sway in the morning. Sanaa, what have you done with this movie? What's going on, girl?
I am just so excited for everybody to see this movie because this movie, Nappily Ever After, I call it the modern day, the fairy tale for the modern woman, because if you think about fairy tales and you think about the fairy tales that we were read as little kids, little black girls, little girls of color, Snow White, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Rapunzel. All of these heroines don't look like us. What does that do to a child's self-esteem? What does that do to your self-worth as you grow up in this culture? And it extends to TV, to magazines. If you never see yourself, if you're never told that the way that your hair curls is beautiful, then what does that do to you in life? And so this movie is kind of what I call the fairy tale for the modern woman, because it is telling the journey of a woman, a black woman, and she is kind of discovering who she is and owning who she is and owning her own beauty. But it's also, it's fun, it's emotional. I really shaved my head. There's a scene, they put it in the trailer, where I'm shaving my head and I go bald. And I really did it. As you can see, I have stayed nappily ever after. And so it's good. It's entertaining. It has a great message. I think, it's feel good. People will laugh, they'll cry, and also make you kind of reflect on yourself and the boxes that not only society has put you in, but your parents, your peers. And, I think it's time for us to kind of, it's a great time for women, especially in this culture, to really kind of have self-reflection and decide who we want to be, who we really want to be.
What do you think, just personal experiences, if you could share, maybe if it is with other conversations with your girlfriends, what is it about us and our hair? It's the first thing I think other people look at for us, because we can come into a room and no matter how powerful of a position we may have, or people think how much money we're making, soon as that sister walks away, it's like, girl, did you see her hair? Why she ain't do her hair? She ain't got no perm. Her weave is taggy. Whatever the case may be.
You don't see the tracks.
Because hair universally.
We notice her tracks. Wow, OQ, a man saying that?
I'm bald, so I can't.
But that's the thing, though, to his point. A man can go bald, but a woman cannot.
Because universally, not even just for black women, universally, hair equals beauty. Hair is like the ultimate symbol of beauty for all cultures. So if you have a whole culture that has been told your hair isn't good enough, from slavery on, what do we've owned it and we've turned it around. And we had Madam C.J. Walker who came up with the hot comb, but that's a reaction to being told that your hair is not good enough, right? That it should be straight to look better. But it's a whole, this is a whole discussion, but it's a whole cultural way that we have adapted. And it is a symbol for beauty. We get it from society. We get it from ourselves. We get it from men. And one of the things that I love about black women, though, like I watched the Housewives shows, and I love Real Housewives of Atlanta, how on every scene they'll have a different wig.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be like a blonde.
Shameless.
Yeah, shameless. Like it'll be like a big fro and then a blonde, down to the butt and then
Finishing
a
out
purple
the
bob.
sentence.
But
Yep.
that's specifically a black thing, which I love. It's like kind of turning. Once again, we've turned around something that's negative and made it our own. And so now it's kind of like wigs and weaves are an expression. It's like an accessory about
a mood.
and it's a mood. It's an expression of how you feel that day. So
I really appreciate you saying that because it's been so annoying throughout the years. Sometimes you'll hear someone say, wait, but why do you have a weave? You don't need weave. And I'm like,
yeah.
my hair is maybe not this length,
Yeah.
or I just want to try out a different look. Like,
Yeah,
it
no.
doesn't necessarily mean because it's a requirement.
There's
It's a
no shame in
necessity.
it. And one of the things that I'm a producer on this movie, and one of the things that I wanted to get very clear at one point in the movie was not that natural hair, you have to wear your hair natural, but that natural hair is just as beautiful.
Right.
Because we do have a thing. I'm conditioned. Like there's days, I've been wearing my hair natural now for a while since the movie. And there's days where I'm like, I'm like, I don't feel, because I've been conditioned just as everybody else has. And so, you have to we have to relearn that, okay, yeah, this is just as beautiful as something else.
Right.
And but I do say in the movie, it's important for us. Wigs and weaves and straightening your hair is completely fine. It's a choice. But also recognize too that this is just as beautiful and valid a choice.
Absolutely. OQ?
So now, when it came to shaving your head for the film, was it something was it your idea or the other producers?
Well, it was in the book. So it was in the book and it was in the script. And it was funny because I was attached to it about 2 years before we actually started to get into production. And I was like, I had a lot of hair. And I was like, I'm not shaving my head for this part. Come on. I mean, I did my research. There's they have bald caps that look real good now, It's the 21st century. You can just spend some
Technology out
money,
here.
like make it look real good, real natural. But then as I started kind of diving into the character and like really thinking about the messages of the movie, I was like, you know what? I should, I have to do it. And I couldn't not do it. And it also coincided with a time in my life where I call it hair exhaustion. I was just so tired of the hair merry-go-round.
Yeah.
You get your hair done and then you have to schedule your workouts or, what wig am I going to wear to this? And then the itching of the weave. Like after 20 years of being an actress, especially where you're always having to do something new, I just was tired of it.
Wow.
So I didn't even realize that until after I shaved it, though.
That
I
you were
still
tired.
was resisting it,
Wow.
that I was tired of the whole hair. I was exhausted.
I'm sorry, Mike Muse.
That's so good. I know hair has a lot to do with identity, and you're
Yes.
talking about the hair merry-go-round, right? And the
Yes.
exhaustion of it. I'm just curious though, because individuals have locks, male and female.
Yeah.
They talk about the spiritual identity that comes with
Yes.
it, and the cutting and the shading
Yep.
of the locks, and the newness and the transition of that. I'm curious for you. Did you go through that experience, and are you taking on a new identity, or have you evolved into this next iteration?
It's so
of who you are?
interesting because so many people have come up to me and said, there's one woman who came up to me. She said, "Oh, now your life is going to change." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Because you hold all your memories in your hair," which who knows if that's true, but I thought that was pretty deep. Like, I think that there's something to that in that. You always see like women when they go through a hard breakup or something, they'll do the big chop.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something unconsciously that we know. But yeah, this year has been so amazing in terms of that, in terms of me kind of like, who do I want to be? Like, what are the things that I want in my life? What are the things that society has put on me? The boxes that, that society or our parents have put on us that I'm just taking for granted. Do I really want this? Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's been a lot of self-reflection.
That's great.
Sanaa Lathan is here hanging out with us. The movie is called Nappily Ever After. Friday on Netflix, September 21st. Make sure you check it out. But she's still hanging out with us at Sway in the Morning. More up next, Shade 45. And call us up too if you have any questions. And maybe men, because I want to get some men involved in this too that's going through transitions with their hair. We've been talking about y'all men out there wearing weaves.
I was thinking about that actually.
Yeah, getting weaves, put on your hair and y'all lie, coloring in
or the spray.
The spray.
Yes, the spray.
And our beards.
Hair in a can.
And the tape.
Yeah.
And the tape.
Oh, the tape. Yeah, DJ wanted to talk me about that because I was complimenting this guy. I was like, your hair looks so good. And when he walked out, Wanda was like, it's a rug.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
All right, I won't tell who
But
it
you
was.
know what? It's kind of messed up to shame a man and then not a woman. You know what I mean?
agree.
Like, we remember how when weaves first came out that we were embarrassed to wear them?
Right.
Like, I remember I had
Yeah.
a boyfriend who, he was like, I hate weaves. But then when I showed up with a weave, he was like, ooh. Of course. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I thought you hated weaves, right?
All right, we going to talk, y'all. 888-742-3345. It's Sway in the Morning, Shade 45. We in here talking about hair. It's a crazy conversation. Sanaa Lathan is here hanging out with us, and I was telling her, because she shared a point about how a woman had come up to her and said, what to you exactly, Sanaa?
She said, your life is about to change. Because I was bald. And she came up to me and she said, your life is about to change because you hold a lot of memories and energy in your hair. Mm-hmm. And when you cut it off, your life changes. And I was like, I mean, I liked the idea of it, but it was a trip. I had never heard that before.
I didn't want to interrupt her story and what she was sharing, but I was telling her while the music was playing, India Ari, that it's true. I believe it. I remember my grandmother, my father's mother, telling me I was about 12 years old, and she said, stop letting people touch your hair. She was like, the spirits and energy, stop letting everybody touch your hair. And I couldn't never figure out why my grandmother used to go to the same hairdresser all the time, the same person. And it was something that she instilled in us. Don't let everybody touch your hair. And as you get older, you start to realize that energy and that weight and that freedom when you washing your own hair and you feel it, or just when somebody touches your hair, how you feel. There's an instant jerk when the wrong person touch your hair. You could. You just feel that energy, and
So true.
I think it's very true what that woman shared with you. So I'm glad she said it. Sanaa Lathan is here talking about the new movie. It's coming on Netflix, y'all, on Friday. Nappily Ever After. I know y'all gonna enjoy it. DB.
Yeah, real quick, because you mentioned being involved with this project for a few years before it's actually being released, and I was just curious how that applied to other work that you might be involved with, because you could shave your head and then you can also put on a wig if you do another role. But a lot of times when you alter your look, sometimes like that drastically, you know, like Henry Cavill, for example, he had to grow a mustache for Mission Impossible, and then they couldn't digitize it out. So, you know what I mean, for Justice League. So I was just wondering if that played a part in like, okay, do I really want to commit to this or do I want to play it safe?
It wasn't an issue in this day and age because the wigs are so good. You know what I mean? Like, in general, all my Black actress friends in general use wigs, and most white actresses are using wigs now because being on a film can be so hard on your hair. And, you'll have to do scenes out of order, and you can't be putting heat on it several times a day. So that really wasn't an issue now. Probably if it was 10 years ago. But the wigs are just looking like they're growing out your head. So, I wasn't worried about that. But I was actually surprised because I'm on a show right now called The Affair, which is on Showtime. And I started shooting about a month after I finished Nappily, so I was bald. But it was like just growing in, so it was like a little shadow. And I asked to do a camera test, and I wanted to do a camera test with my natural hair and with a long, beautiful wig. And I had Kim Kimball make me this wig, and I was like, they're going to choose the wig. And I went in, and we did the camera test with both. And that day, it was predominantly men on the set. And I said, I know they're going to like the wig. And I said, what do you guys like better? And they said, we like your hair. So I chose to wear my own hair, my own head. I didn't even really have any hair for that. So that was cool. And then I did another movie called Native Son based on the book. Rashid Johnson, who's an amazing artist, he's directing it. And he called me and he's like, I noticed that you have, a short hair. You're natural. He called it a natural. Remember that?
Yeah.
He said, do you mind wearing your natural as the character? And I was like, no, that would be great. So I haven't worn a wig yet. I mean, I will, but I haven't had to. So, and I think it's also the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we're starting to see more of it, more
Just
images.
embracing, yeah.
Exactly.
Embracing it. 888-742-3345. Men, are you embracing your hair or maybe the loss of hair? Because we see some men up here with some situations. That's all I'm going to call it. There's just situations. And we want you guys to be honest about it. Women, too. Call us up, 888-742-3345. We got Joe on the line from Dallas. Good morning, Joe. How you doing? Say what up to Sanaa as well.
Hey, Joe.
Kings and Queens, how y'all doing?
Doing good, buddy. What's up with you?
Okay, so I'm a real dude, so I tell people when stuff happen to me, and it's funny, it's just funny. Like that's how life is.
Hold on one second.
With a feet.
Yeah, Joe, I'm listening to you. He stopped.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said hold on a second.
No, we were getting Sanaa straightened with her headphones. I'm sorry.
I got you. Okay, so anyhow, long story short, I was in a 10-year relationship. It was real stressful. At about 32 years old, I started losing like a large portion of my hair. And I had always been that dude that, my hair and my face, all of that was tied to my self-worth and my self-confidence or whatever. So when I start, kicking in and I'm being on the outs with a female, I went to drastic measures. I tried, the little spray right when it first came out. That didn't work. And then one of my little partners, he hit me up to black shoe polish. so for about a year and a half, I'm walking around the hot streets of Oak Cliff with shoe polish.
Yo, Joe, come clean. So what would happen when you got hot and you got this black noon owl? What is shoe polish? Kiwi? What do they call it?
Real talk. This actually happened to me. I went to a club, and it's humid as hell in this club.
Here we go.
And they had, this is one of them clubs where like they actually turn the lights on for a couple of songs so you can see who you're dancing with, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm giddy, I'm getting it. And they turned the lights on in the middle of the song, do a slow jam, and the female looked at me and she looked at my head, and I think I'm gonna sweat. And she see this big black dot running down my head. She was like, "Baby, I think your hair is bleeding."
Hair is bleeding.
Yo,
that's amazing.
Joe, when did you decide to just like give it up, just stop fronting and just cut it all off?
To tell you the truth, I met a female that kind of made me feel like what y'all were talking about, just like I was worth something, and it kind of put that self-confidence back in me. So I just went ahead and went bald, and I've been bald ever since, and females love it.
Yeah.
Yep. We were saying that, Joe, while the music was playing, that men look so confident and so attractive when they own that bald head. It's when just like you got to own it.
The energy of confidence, the energy of accepting who you are is so sexy.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if you're like, listen, if you want to spray your hairline on, that's fine. But if whatever that's coming from, that fear and that insecurity, that comes across when you meet somebody. A woman is going to fall in love with your energy. It's not. Mm-hmm. I just think that if you had the hair struggle, and I think it's just. I always find it just much sexier if a man goes bald.
If a man goes
my hair was bleeding.
He said his hair was. Joe said he was getting it too. Thank you, Joe. We love you. You're a citizen of Sway in the morning.
It's hard for us to make that transition though, because as black men, like we put so much time into 360s, into the waves, into the do-rag, and the constant brushing.
Yes.
And depending on which region you in, you got to get an uptown fade versus the Caesar and the Philly cats, right? And so it's just like we all have our different things, and so it actually is hard for us to transition. We don't openly admit it, but it is hard to make us that transition and to get to that confident level, what you're talking about tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
We got Lauren on the line from Miami. Lauren, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Lauren.
Hey, how are you all?
We doing good, girl.
I just wanted to know, Sanaa, how are you doing? And what type of emotions did you feel when you were cutting your hair? Were you nervous, crying, or were you like, whatever, let me just do this? And since wigs do look so phenomenal nowadays, why didn't you just choose to get like a low cut wig?
Yeah, so I once I decided I was going to do it, the week before, I was so nervous every day. You know that feeling of like when you have butterflies in your stomach, something big is coming up. And I was nervous on several levels. One, I was really going bald. Two, it was such a pivotal moment in the movie. It had to go right. We only had one take. The crew was actually nervous because they knew they only had one take. You can't go back.
Right.
And so, I was super nervous, but I decided in the moment, right before the scene started that I would just get into the character of Violet and don't worry about me and don't worry about what I think she's going to feel. Just let it come, right? And so it was actually truly, it was amazing. It was a roller coaster of emotions. I felt, giddy. I felt scared. I felt sad. I felt euphoric at times. The actual scene in the movie is about 4 minutes, but we shot it for 10 minutes. It took about 10 minutes for me to get all the hair off. But it didn't even get all the way off. You'll see in the movie that the next morning she has like patches. But it was really emotional because I had been asking Larry Sims. Larry Sims designed all the hair, and I was lucky enough to get him to do the movie with me. And I had been saying to him, I was like, Larry, do you think my head is a nice shape? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's beautiful. I said, you can tell with my hair? He said, oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. When we finished that scene, he ran in. He had tears in his eyes. He was like, your head is so beautiful. And I was like, wait, you didn't know? He said, no, I didn't know. I was like, so I could have had a cone head. I could have had dents, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there was all of those concerns. But after, surprisingly, I was so surprised by the reaction after. I mean, I revealed it on Instagram. Every ex-boyfriend I've ever had called me and was like, can I come and rub it? Can I come rub your head? Right. And then women were like, oh my God, I love it. You should keep it. I was just so surprised by the react. I didn't know it was going to be like that. So I actually kept shaving it for a while.
I was going to ask you that. What, like, now that your hair is growing back, do you ever get that urge again to just like have that euphoric feeling just to like shave it?
Yes, there's some days because like today, even this, did I mess it up? Did I dent it?
No.
No.
I'm so sorry. This shirt is giving me problems today. Like even this, what I realized is that it actually takes just as much effort to have natural dews.
Girl.
You know what I mean? And there are a million YouTube videos that people send me, and I'm like, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
So half the time, my hair does not, I mean, this is like a hairdresser came and did this morning. I don't even know how to do it. But there's days I do look crazy walking around with my fro. But I'm just kind of, I'm enjoying it. I may get braids after this for a while, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know.
It's pretty. It looks like a fly straw set. That's what it looks.
I love that.
It's really dope. Yeah, it's nice. She's here hanging out with us. Thank you so much, Sanaa, for stopping by. Nappily Ever After, Friday, September 21st on Netflix. Make sure y'all support. Tweet her out to Instagram her. What's your social media?
I am Sanaa Lathan on Instagram, at Just Sanaa on Twitter.
Okay, yep, that's what it is. All right, thank you, and come back with Sway.
That was a nice conversation, y'all.
Yeah.
No, we loved
enjoyed
it. Thank you. And you had mad guys calling, wanting to confess about their dues. So I was excited about that.
No, yeah, because I think that's the next step. Guys have to, own their bald sexy.
Yeah, we are.
I'm still good, baby.
Show off. Tony Danza is up next to hang out with us. If you want to talk to him, citizens, 888-742-3345.